Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting. Huge news just coming in that a suspect has been arrested by the FBI in the Austin bombings. Just saw this news. I don't even know if people really know this is happening, but let me show you where I saw it. Oops, hang on a second. I'm sorry if you're hearing two of me. So I apologize if you heard two of me, but a suspect has reportedly been arrested in the Austin bombings. So this is being reported by Chris Betts from KVUE. Let me show you right here. Austin PD FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. There's been a bunch of activity going on. I know in, where is it? Round Rock, which is a town right near Austin tonight. About an hour or two ago in Round Rock, they shut down I-35, the interstate, and there were helicopters and SWAT teams. I don't know if this happened in Round Rock, but there's been a huge amount of police activity over the last couple of hours in Round Rock. And also, you know, another thing that happened, I don't know if the suspect is the person you see in this picture. Just before this news came out that they arrested a suspect, there were photos released, surveillance photos, of the person who sent the two package bombs through FedEx, who mailed them at FedEx. So let me quickly show you that. And also, just so you know, I think all of this might be connected. Austin PD, just 20 minutes ago, said APD is working on an officer-involved shooting at the 1700 block of North IH-35. I think, you know, that might be real. This might be the suspect. Because we heard there were shots fired when the suspect was arrested. So this might all connect. But let me show you real quick those surveillance photos. So this just came out a few minutes ago, right before I heard someone was arrested. If you look, it says Austin Statesman. CBS Austin sent this out. Photos of bombing person of interest. This is the person who came into a FedEx store on Sunday night, this person, and mailed two package bombs, including the one that went off in the FedEx sorting facility. So this is the person. And I don't know if this is the person who was arrested or not. I don't know. Also, supposedly this person could be wearing a wig and wig and gloves in these pictures. You know, I had better pictures for you of this. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can get that other article up there. No. Let's see here. No, they're not big. Anyways. That right there is a photo. These were just released tonight, just a little while ago. These surveillance photos of that's the person who mailing the package bombs at the FedEx store on Sunday night. But now we're hearing that somebody's been arrested. Let me show you this again. Chris Betts from KVUE. Austin Police Department and FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device, I guess, while they were arresting them or when they found the person. Shots were fired. And there's also been an officer-involved shooting. And I don't know if that's what this is, if that is this. So I'm just trying to get you all the news here I can get you. Real quick, I'm just getting the Periscope stream up here so I can read comments if they come. I might not be able to see your comments. The best place to reach me is @Lookner on Twitter, So again, all this activity is going on. In the last hour or hour and a half, let me show you something else as I jump around here. And I think all this stuff might be connected. So this, here's this. Jordan Bontke from CBS Austin tweeted this out about 17 minutes ago. He said, massive police presence outside Woodspring Suites and Red Roof Inn on South I-35. Austin police investigating an officer-involved shooting. I wonder if this is, if this is in Round Rock. Woodspring Suites. Let me look this up. Woodspring Suites, because that would kind of tie this all together. Texas. Oops. Is there one in Round Rock? There is a Wood Springs Suites in Round Rock, Texas, right next to the I-35. You can see right there. So this might be where this all went down, because they were, I'll show you here, Jordan Bonke had posted this. An hour ago, Jordan Bonke posted this. I-35 in Round Rock at Old Settlers Boulevard is shut down in both directions. So they shut down the freeway, the I-35 in both directions an hour ago. We see SWAT vehicles and helicopters in the area. Then he tweeted out this. Massive police presence outside Woodspring Suites and Red Roof Inn on South I-35. Austin police investigating an officer-involved shooting. And then right around that time, I saw this tweet. Hang on, let me get it up for you on the screen. About the arrest. Hang on, I know it's on my feed. Now, this is the only report I've heard of the arrest, by the way. But this is coming from Chris Betts of KView. Austin PD... FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. Shots were fired. So all of this, and again, to repeat, this had just happened in the last hour too. These photos had been posted of the suspect. This is the suspect these are photos of the suspect, at least a suspect, who's the person who mailed the package bombs. These are photos of the FedEx store on Sunday night where this person in the green shirt mailed 2 package bombs. And, I wish the photos were a little bigger when I clicked on them, but I'll show you them anyway. These are different photos of this person mailing, surveillance video, mailing 2 package bombs. And I also read this person might be wearing a wig in these photos. But these photos just came out like 25 minutes ago while all this other stuff was going on. So everything seems to be kind of coming together at this point. Hopefully they got the person. But I'm just going to keep checking here and see what updates I can give you. BNO News is saying shots fired in Northeast Austin during search for bombing suspect. No further details. But, again, I will go back to this post by Chris Betts of KView. She says, APD FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. So we're just trying to get you the latest information here. And then somebody said here, is this true? And Chris Betts said, yes, we have our crew on way for media briefing right now. So it looks like there might be some sort of media briefing coming up. I'll do my best to get it to you. This news just happening in the last few minutes. And it looks like they have arrested a suspect and there was some sort of shots fired confrontation with the suspect. So let me I'm doing a couple things here. Let's see what else, other information I can give you. Now, this is the Round Rock police where they had closed the I-35. They are saying, oh, all right, forget that. I don't think that has to do with this. So they've been posting traffic updates and stuff. But again, we have that tweet that said FBI, Austin PD, FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. And as I was saying, Austin police said they were there had been an officer-involved shooting. Let me show you that tweet real quick. While the mainstream media sleeps, we get you the news at Right Side Broadcasting. So here is that post from 27 minutes ago or so. APD is working an officer-involved shooting. And again, next to I-35. All of this is happening near I-35. 3321 North IH-35. I want to look up that address. 3321 North IH-35 in Texas. It's at Round Rock. Everything is connecting here. Everything is connecting. Again, everything is connecting to I-35 in Round Rock. Round Rock is a bit north. It's right next. See, there's Round Rock. It's just north of Austin. It's very close to Austin. So you can see Austin there, and Round Rock is north of Austin, okay? And about an hour ago, so let me give you the timeline here again so we can put this all together. So give me 1 second, guys. Let me just lay out the timeline for you, because everything we've been hearing seems to connect now. Okay, here we go. So look, Round Rock is a town just north of Austin, okay? Now, Jordan Bonnke, cheers to him, staying up and doing this, he tweeted out an hour ago, I-35 in Round Rock at Old Settlers Boulevard, I-35 in Round Rock is shut down in both directions. We see SWAT vehicles and helicopters in the area. So an hour ago, they had shut down the I-35, interstate highway, shut it down in Round Rock, and there were SWAT and helicopters in the area, okay? Then a little later, he tweeted out, massive police presence outside where he was, Wood Spring Suites and Red Roof Inn on South I-35. Massive police presence. Oh, and by the way, in between those two tweets, I had seen this, and he had retweeted it, and I had retweeted this as well. CBS Austin said, hey, we now have photos of the person who mailed the package bombs. So that's a surveillance photo of the person who mailing the package bombs on Sunday night at FedEx. So all of this is happening in the last hour. So massive police presence in Round Rock, there, SWAT, shutting down the highway, SWAT vehicles, all that, SWAT teams, helicopters. And then around that same time, look what also got posted. Austin police, FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. Okay? Shots were fired. And then around the same time, Austin police in the same area says working on an officer-involved shooting. So it looks like all of this went down in Round Rock, which is just north of Austin, right next to the I-35. Don't know exactly which building, but it looks like they've arrested a suspect. There was some sort of shooting involved. It says shots were fired. It was an officer-involved shooting. Maybe they shot the suspect. Also, the suspect detonated a device, so maybe there was a confrontation between the suspect and the police and the FBI and whoever else was there. But all of this is connecting at, again, Round Rock, I-35. Round Rock is north of Austin. There's a map right there. That's where this is all happening, all there. And so cheers to the different reporters. A couple different reporters were awake and out there covering this stuff. And if you just sort of saw it, it all started happening in the last hour. So let me just see if we're seeing anything new. I don't see any mainstream media reporting on this at all because they're dinosaurs. They have hundreds of millions of dollars and giant buildings in New York and tons of staffers who work all the time, and they're not reporting on this because they stink. Okay, and look, I'm not saying we're great. I'm just saying it just points out that they stink. I mean, I'm sure there's other people. Look, Chris Betts had this story half an hour ago on her Twitter, and she's just, she's a local news reporter in KVUE. So just ridiculous. But anyways, it gets me angry. I'm sorry. Let's see. CBS. So Courtney Shoneman is also reporting on this. FBI is on the scene of officer-involved shooting in I-35 in Round Rock. I'm going to tweet out, looks like this might be where they arrested the suspect. So let's see. So again, so much going on. It all seems to connect, though. In the last hour, in Round Rock, just north of Austin, they shut down the I-35 freeway in both directions. SWAT teams were there. Helicopters were there. There's been Chris Betts says they've arrested a suspect in the Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. Austin PD says there was an officer-involved shooting right in this area. Sounds like the same thing. It really seems like it's all happening there. Oh, and just again, to remind you, while this was all going on in the last hour, photos were released of the bombing suspect, with surveillance video of the bombing suspect mailing the package bombs, the 2 package bombs at FedEx on Sunday night. There he is. So I don't know if these photos coming out had anything to do with this arrest. And it looks like Fox is now. But I don't know if these photos coming out in the last hour had anything to do with this arrest. But these photos got released right around the time we heard the report of this confrontation in Round Rock, north of Austin, and the arrest. So who knows? It's just kind of crazy what's going on. So, and we don't know, is this the only suspect? Look, let me say again, I don't know that this was a person arrested. What I heard was suspect arrested. I'm assuming, best guess is that it's the suspect. A suspect detonated device, suspect arrested in Austin bombing. Shots were fired. I'm assuming it's this person who mailed the things. It might not be. It might not be. So let's just be clear on that. But this is the suspect this is the a photo of the person mailing the 2 package bombs on Sunday at FedEx. Maybe wearing a wig. We don't know. Okay, let's see if I can get anything more for you here. So, again, I know a bunch of people are just joining the stream. It looks like we have an arrest of a suspect in the Austin bombings. Sorry to repeat all of this, but it seems like all of this is happening at Round Rock, which is a town just north of Austin. So there's Round Rock, and I'll just go through the timeline really quickly one more time about what's happened in the last hour. So here's so you can see Austin there, and you can see Round Rock north of it, and you can see the I-35 runs through both of them, the freeway. So the interstate. So here's a little summary of what happened in the last hour. Jordan Bonke from CBS tweets out, I-35 in Round Rock is shut down in both directions. We see SWAT vehicles and helicopters in area. That was an hour ago, and I remember seeing that and going like, whoa, I wonder if something is up there. Then, also in the last hour, CBS Austin said, hey, there's photos of the person of interest who's mailing the package bombs on Sunday night. That happens. Shortly after that, Jordan Bonke tweets out another update and says, at Round Rock, massive police presence outside Woodspring Suites and Red Roof Inn on South I-35. Police investigating an officer-involved shooting. Okay? And then shortly after that, this tweet was posted by Chris Betts. APD FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. Maybe this is the officer-involved shooting that's being talked about. And the Austin police said APD is working on an officer-involved shooting, and the address is right in that area. That's where it is. It's Round Rock. It's on the I-35. So everything seems to be coming together here in Round Rock, just north of Austin. It looks like they have arrested a suspect or the suspect, and there was a fight with shots fired and a device detonated. So hopefully we can get some more information on this soon. If you have updates, give me a shout on Twitter. @Lookner is where to reach me, @Lookner. So just trying to get more information here. Let me just check some different sources. Now, this might be Round Rock Police is saying accident has cleared. That's not about the traffic. That's about an accident. All right, I'm not worried about that because they had closed down the highway. I didn't know if they were posting more about that. So Jay Wallace, who's also of KView, is repeating what Chris Betts from KView reported and says FBI and APD are arresting the suspect in the Austin bombings. He says the suspect. Did she say the suspect or a suspect? Suspect. That's what she said. That's the tweet he's working off of right there. So, by the way, Fox came in for a second and then they went away. So Fox is in reruns. CNN is not talking about this. They're talking about Vienna. And MSNBC is talking about Trump Russia. So there you go, guys. There's your mainstream media news channels for you. The suspect has reportedly been arrested. Anyone who has access to the internet can go online and do some research and figure this out. And these mainstream media news networks, all of them with their hundreds of millions of dollars in big buildings and thousands of employees worldwide, can't be bothered to cover this story live. It really is stunning to me whenever this happens. But we are covering it. That's what we do here at Right Side Broadcasting. So, I'm just trying to get more information on this. Give me a second. I think part of the reason it's hard to get information is because most of the media is asleep and no one's waking up to cover this. Hang on a second, guys. If you hear more, give me a shout on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. So, it looks like, hang on one sec. Sorry, I'm just going to show you this tweet here. Where is it here? Sorry, guys, I'm just pulling up something on the screen. Bombing suspect is dead. The bombing suspect is dead. The bombing suspect is dead. Breaking. Bombing suspect is dead. Law enforcement sources confirm. Bombing suspect is dead. I've got to change the headline now. This is just in from Terry Plohetsky. Bombing suspect is dead. Law enforcement sources confirm. Wow. Okay, so let me change the headline and the stream name. Austin bombing suspect is dead. There you go. There's your breaking news. Okay. Headline changed. Let me just change the title of the video. Austin bombing suspect is dead. Update. The authorities are saying the Austin bombing suspect is dead. Sorry, guys, I just need to fix the title of the broadcast. So, look at this. The Austin bombing suspect is dead. That is from Tony Plohetsky. He is from K-View in Austin. K-View in Austin. The Austin bombing suspect is dead. And the mainstream media isn't covering it because they're dinosaurs. Let me just make sure the title updated and everything. Okay, great. We're updated here. Hang on. Let me just open this. So, now, I don't know if they arrested the person and then they died. Hang on a second. Hang on 1 second here. Because a half an hour ago, there was that report that a suspect had been arrested. A half an hour ago, there was a report that the suspect had been arrested and that there had been shots fired when the suspect was arrested and the suspect had detonated a device. But now we are just seeing in here, bombing suspect is dead, law enforcement sources confirm. All of this went down in the last hour and a half. All of this went down in the last hour and a half. Dan the Plumber, thank you. And thank you, Crispy, as well. So all of this went down in the last hour and a half. Oh, I have to change the Facebook. I got to change that too. The Facebook video is now titled wrong. I want to update that title too. So all of this went down in the last hour and a half. There started to be enormous police activity, SWAT activity. They shut down the interstate highway at Round Rock, about a little bit north, just a town a little north of Austin. There was all this activity going on there. And at the same time in the last hour, surveillance photos got released of the suspect mailing the package bombs on Sunday night at FedEx. All of that happened, and then we heard reports of an officer-involved shooting and the suspect arrested, and this just came in. Bombing suspect is dead. You heard it first on Right Side. Well, if you were following Tony Plohetsky on Twitter, you heard it first from him. But if not, you heard it first from us. Hey, let me just change the title of the video in Facebook, if I can do that. Oh, it might not let me. Let's see. Just so people know. Okay. Austin bombing suspect is dead. Austin bombing suspect is dead. Done. Saved. Okay, so hang on a second. Fine. All right, so for those of you just joining us, gosh, sometimes when I cover breaking news, I like to just have like the TV on in the background and somebody covering it. I'm going to all of the channels and no one's covering it. No one's. Is anybody covering it? I'm sorry, I was just going to leave something on in the background. Now finally CNN's covering it. So look. So suspect is dead. Let me go over let me first of all check the news and just make sure there's not any more updates on this that I'm missing, because this just came in. Austin Statesman is now confirming this. The Austin Statesman is confirming this. So let me show you real quick from the Austin Statesman. Austin Statesman, the newspaper in Austin. Major development, Austin bombing suspect is dead. As reported by T. Plohetsky. So details to come. So let's see. Let me just, I'll go down. For the people just joining, let me one more time go down the timeline here. Okay, so about an hour and a half ago, all this stuff started happening in Round Rock, which is a town just north of Austin. You can see on your map, Austin's at the bottom, Round Rock's a little bit above it on the I-35. So, and all this stuff happened where that red marker is there. So the first thing we started hearing is this. So Jordan Bonke from CBS said, about an hour ago, I-35 in Round Rock shut down in both directions. They shut down the entire interstate. We're seeing SWAT vehicles and helicopters. That was like an hour ago, okay? So all this activity started going on. They shut down the freeway, SWAT teams, helicopters. Then, a little while after that, CBS Austin, I don't know if this relates to why this happened tonight. I don't know. The timing was so odd that while this was going on, CBS Austin said, hey, we have photos of the suspect. And a bunch of photos came out, like this one, of the suspect. This is the suspect at the FedEx on Sunday night mailing 2 package bombs. And I can actually show you here. Here you can see there's a bunch of photos. Unfortunately, they're a bit small. I can blow them up a little bit. But these photos came out, several surveillance photos of the bombing suspect walking into FedEx on Sunday and mailing 2 package bombs. Those are the package bombs. One of them exploded at a FedEx facility. One of them never exploded, and the authorities got it. So these are the different photos of this of the suspect, and those came out while all this activity was going on at Round Rock. So all this activity is going on at Round Rock, this police activity. Then these photos get released, and then we hear from Jordan Bonke, massive police presence outside of the Wood Spring Suites and Red Roof Inn in Round Rock, right off the I-35, and Austin police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. So we hear officer-involved shooting, and then around that time, a little while after that, there was a tweet sent out saying a suspect had been arrested. Now, I don't know if that tweet has been deleted now. I am looking for it, and let me see if I can find it here. I wonder if it got deleted. I think it got deleted, and I don't know why. I think it was Chris Betts from KView. She had a tweet up that said FBI and Austin police are arresting the suspect in the bombings, and she also said in this tweet, shots were fired, and the suspect detonated a device. Okay, so there was some sort of confrontation. It looks like in Red Rock, where all this, in Round Rock, where all this police activity was happening. There was some sort of confrontation there. I don't know if an arrest was actually made or they were going to arrest the person and the person died. But it turns out now that the suspect is dead. But it looks like there was some sort of violent confrontation between the authorities and this suspect in Round Rock, maybe at a Red Roof Inn or near a Red Roof Inn, just north of Austin tonight. And about 25 minutes after this tweet was posted that the suspect had been arrested, we saw suspect dead. And that is the story now, suspect dead. And hang on one second here, and I'll show you that real quick. There you go. So lots of different reporters saying now, sources confirmed to CBS Austin now, the Austin bombing suspect is dead. So we'll have to see. Rose Starbright, thank you. Rose Starbright says, thanks for being here, RSBN. We'll have to see what exactly happened. Still some confusion on, was the suspect arrested? Maybe the suspect got hurt in the confrontation, was arrested and died in custody. Maybe the suspect wasn't arrested. Maybe that reporter heard that there was some sort of confrontation going on, but maybe the suspect was already dead at that point, but and I don't know. It's the original tweet from about 25 minutes ago, which has been deleted, about the arrest, said suspect detonated device. Could the suspect have blown himself up? Or was he detonating a device to hurt police or to blow himself up? We don't know any of this. So I'm hoping we get a briefing at some point soon, since this news is out there. Although I will say this: CNN cut in for 5 minutes to talk about this, and now they're talking about the weather, so they're no real help. I'm really stunned at this point. I mean, now that this has been announced, why is this not? MSNBC is doing a rerun about Donald Trump's news, and Fox is the only one covering this live. There you go. At this point, they weren't before though. But but people don't think. I guess the news networks don't think this is really important. Anyways, if you're hearing any updates, you can write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. So it looks like there was some violent confrontation between the suspect and authorities a little bit north in Round Rock, a little bit north of Austin in the last hour or so. And this is what happened. Thank you, Baron Lataken. I also want to show you these photos again. Let me see if I can find better photos of the suspect. Give me 1 second, because I have that one article, but I want to see if I can find bigger ones. Let's see. What are these? It's all the same article. All right. Well, anyways, let me just show you again this photo of the suspect, in case you haven't seen it. The suspect is now dead, but this is a photo of the suspect that just came out in the last hour while all this was going down, of the suspect mailing the 2 package bombs at FedEx. That is the suspect right there. Don't know if he's wearing a wig, but those are some photos of the suspect walking in with the packages, mailing the package bombs. That's him walking in with the packages there. So, and as I keep saying, I don't know if the fact that these photos came out in the last half hour or 45 minutes had anything to do with this guy getting arrested, getting killed. I mean, one thing I don't know. Like, it's just like it's did the guy see these photos came out and then figured I'm caught, or it just seemed like the photos were released right around the same time there was this big police operation going on in Round Rock, where this suspect ended up being confronted and apparently killed. So, or committed suicide. We don't know yet. So I'm very interested in knowing on how this whole timing worked out, on why those surveillance photos came out right as this police operation was going on. So massive police presence still at the scene of this. I just saw a shot on TV of that. Let me see if I can get you any updates right here. But the Austin bombing suspect is dead. Here is a photo, I guess, from the scene from WSB TV posted this. I guess that's a photo from the scene. I can't confirm that, though. Now, here are some more photos. And as we said before, there was an officer-involved shooting right in the area where all these SWAT teams were and everything. And I'm guessing that's where this all happened, and that's where this person died and was arrested. Died and maybe was arrested. So Dr. Nicole Cross just tweeted out 7 minutes ago, heavy police presence on I-35 in Round Rock, wherever all this went down, as Austin police investigate an officer-involved shooting reportedly connected to the Austin bombings. For all we know, the officer-involved shooting was shooting the suspect. That's certainly possible. But here are some photos, a couple photos of the scene there that you can see. Heavy police presence there. And I'm guessing, we heard this was near a Red Roof Inn. If the suspect was staying in some hotel room near there or something, I'm guessing it's this massive crime scene and they have to collect evidence and they want to make sure there aren't more explosives and all that stuff and booby traps, especially given that there was a report that in this confrontation the suspect did detonate a device. Look at how behind the time Reuters top news. Reuters top news. Explosion in Austin, Texas injures man. Wake up, Reuters. The suspect is dead. That's Reuters. Unbelievable. Look at this. That's what they tweet out. I kind of want to tweet to them. Wake up, guys. Suspect was confirmed dead 15 minutes ago. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to reply to them. Just incredible. That's Reuters. That's an international news agency. Their whole business is reporting news. And then 2 minutes ago, they they posted something about the Austin bombing from 4 hours ago. Unreal. Just unreal. You wouldn't think it's possible, would you? Who's even working there, posting that? Just trying to get you some more information here. Just trying to get you some more info on this. I would love to know if there's going to be a press briefing, because there's lots of information certainly that we need to know about this. We need to know. Well, that sounds jerky, but that we'd like to know. Okay, here is an article that just came out. Well, it says nothing. Here's that tweet. Oh, the tweet's still here. Why is it not there anymore? Yeah, here it is. I don't know. I think I retweeted it before, and I'm not going to. This was the tweet from before. This is the tweet that came out at 4:06 a.m. 40 minutes ago. So before these reports, these recent reports that apparently they've been confirmed by multiple sources. The Austin bombing suspect is dead. But about a half an hour before those reports, this tweet came out from Chris Betts, and she said, Austin police and FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. Shots were fired. So I want to tweet this out again and say, suspect now confirmed dead, but important info here about suspect detonating device and shots fired. So great reporting by Chris Betts. This is the only place I've seen. She was the only one who had the arrest, and she hasn't deleted it, so I assume it's still true. And it's the only place I have seen suspect detonated device. And somebody in the comments did ask her. They said, "Is this true?" And she said, "Yup, it's true." So I'd love to know more about a suspect detonating device. By the way, just a little update about mainstream media. Fox stopped covering this, and CNN cut in, but it's just like nobody seems to want to stay on this story, even though it's really important. Oh, and MSNBC is still on reruns. MSNBC hasn't even gone live on the story yet. There's now Steve Kornacki's on from last night. Okay, we're going to have a briefing. We're going to have a briefing. Media staging area. We are going to have a briefing. I'm going to post this. Retweet. Police briefing on death of Austin bombing suspect coming up. I assume it's going to be on that. They didn't say it's going to be on that, but now that multiple sources are saying he died, we're going to have a briefing. Wonderful. So, that's going to happen. We have to keep an eye on that. And maybe we'll get a lot more information there. I hope we do. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's live continuing coverage of the death of the Austin bombing suspect. This man apparently, oh, hang on, let me show you. This man apparently, this is the man who mailed 2 package bombs. You can see him right there. He's mailing 2 package bombs at FedEx on Sunday night. That's him. Is he wearing a wig? We don't know. But we know that's him. Here's him walking into the store, FedEx store, carrying 2 package bombs. There you go. So he is the one who apparently has been killed or committed suicide, because I haven't heard about any other suspects. And they're saying the suspect is dead. And I would guess this would be the suspect. Maybe, of course, it's certainly possible that this person is not the suspect. I mean, he's a person of interest. It could turn out that the suspect paid this person to mail the packages. I don't know, though. I'm assuming this is the person. So I'll be corrected if it's wrong, but I'm going to assume that's the person. So we're covering the story, and there's going to be a press briefing soon. But just so you can see. The Austin bombing suspect is dead. CBS Austin has it. The Austin Statesman has it. So it is confirmed in multiple places. The Austin bombing suspect is dead. And just because I know some people just joined the stream, so if others will bear with me, I'll take like 2 minutes and just run down how this all went down tonight, apparently, from what we can figure out. So let me just run down real quick. About around 3 a.m. this morning, 2:30 or 3 a.m., the first inkling that something was going on was this. I-35 in Round Rock is shut down in both directions. We've seen SWAT vehicles and helicopters in the area. Now, Round Rock is just north of Austin, right there. See Round Rock in Austin below that? And so about an hour and a half ago, we heard from Jordan Bonke that they had shut down the I-35, a major freeway in both directions, an interstate highway, and that there was SWAT teams, SWAT vehicles, and helicopters. So that happened, and then a short time after that, these photos came out. This story with these photos, they just came out while this was going on in like about an hour ago. Hey, there are these surveillance photos of the bomber mailing the package bombs at FedEx Sunday night. So that happened. Then a short time after that, Jordan Bonke reported massive police presence outside Woodspring Suites and Red Roof Inn in Round Rock on the I-35 where all that police activity had been going on. And he also said Austin police investigating an officer-involved shooting. And around the same time, Austin police tweeted out, there's been an officer-involved shooting, and the address they gave is right in that area. That's right in that area of Round Rock there next to the I-35. So they said that. And then after that, and then we saw then this came out. Chris Betts tweeted out, 4:06 a.m., APD and FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. So it looked at that point like the suspect had been arrested in some violent confrontation involving shots and a suspect detonated device. And remember, it said shots fired, and I was thinking, well, since there was an officer-involved shooting in that area, I'm guessing that might have been this. So that happened, and that was the last we'd heard. And then I'd say about a half an hour after that, that's when people started tweeting about the Austin bomber being dead. So the first one I think was Terry Plohetsky. Was that who it was? Tony Plohetsky? I want to give credit to the first person who tweeted that out. Hang on, I'm going to find it for you. Where is it here? Hold on. I'm going to call it up on my Twitter. I know I posted it. This person deserves the credit. He was the first one. Tony Plohetsky. He had it first. That's when we first heard that the bombing suspect was dead. That was at 4:23 a.m. It is now 4:51 a.m. Eastern. There is going to be a media briefing on this. They've already said there's going to be a media briefing. We don't know exactly when. I would hope it'd be soon and not 3 hours from now, or I might fall asleep. But hopefully it'll be soon, and we will bring that to you if and when it happens. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get you more updates. Very interested in knowing how this all went down. It sounds like there was some sort of violent confrontation between the law enforcement officials and the bomber and the bombing suspect. And also, I really want to know, how did the person die? Was he shot? Did he die in this detonation? Did he kill himself? Were any police hurt in this violent activity that involved a detonation of an explosive and gunshots? Was the person staying in a hotel? They apparently know who this person is now because they have photos of the person and the person's dead. So I would assume they know who this person is. Who is the person? Where are they from? Are they the only suspect? So all these questions, I hope we get some answers. And before the press briefing, I'll do my best to try to find you more information. But hopefully that's soon. Hang on, I just need to put a little... let me show you. I got to put a little lip balm on, and as I do that, I'm going to show you these pictures. That's the picture of the suspect there mailing the package bombs. One of those boxes he dropped off exploded in a FedEx facility. The other one was found by FedEx, but had never exploded. But that's him on Sunday at the FedEx store dropping off the package bombs. See what else we can get you on this. Great. So Adam Hammonds tweets out, we are at the media staging location. So right across the interstate. So this interstate is where this all went down tonight. There's a red roof in there. And right across from this video was just posted by Adam Hammonds of CBS Austin. And they are right across from it right now, waiting for the briefing. So I guess we'll have this briefing at some point soon, but it's right across the I-35 freeway. I wonder, this went down right near a Red Roof Inn in Round Rock, Texas. Was this suspect staying at the Red Roof Inn? If so, was the suspect maybe not from Austin and staying just outside Austin? Or had the suspect maybe lived in Austin but got out of his apartment and got a room at the Red Roof Inn? Don't know. CBS Austin also saying Suspect in the Austin bombings is dead. Oh, we have a Tony Plohetsky coming through. New information. Officials say police traced suspect using mix of cell phone technology, security video, and store receipts. There you go. Officials say police trace suspect using mix of cell phone technology, security video, and store receipts. So, cell phone technology. I wonder if they were monitoring a cell phone. Maybe they had the person's cell phone number and they were using the cell phone to track the person. It's very possible that a week ago they had a decent idea who this person was or some information about this person, and they were tracking the person on their cell phone or something. We don't know. It's possible they had a lot more information and they were doing their best they could to find this person. But there you go. Trace the suspect using mix of cell phone technology, security video, and store receipts. So that is new. Store receipts is interesting. So, what store receipts are they talking about? Are they talking about like the FedEx store receipt from Sunday night? Did they find a credit card on there or something? Or a signature? Or fingerprints? Were there fingerprints maybe? So that, look, well, let me say this. That guy the suspect went into the FedEx store on Sunday, he mailed those packages, he carried them in. We know FedEx found one of those packages unexploded. So I would guess the guy's fingerprints would be on that thing, in addition to any other identifying information they could get. Also, supposedly, if they find an unexploded bomb, sometimes they can trace back the parts to who bought them. But anyways, so very interesting, this latest piece of information here. Officials say police trace suspect using mix of cell phone technology, security video, and store receipts. Tony Plohetsky doing a great job tonight. He was the first one to report the suspect was dead. Wow. Breaking news, guys. Breaking news. Very important. Sources say the suspect killed himself using an explosive device. Wow. Wow. Tony Plohetsky, another scoop. Sources say the suspect killed himself using an explosive device. There you go. Wow. Well, I guess maybe the suspect was never arrested. Now, I'll say this. So, technically speaking, Chris Betts said APD and FBI arresting suspect. She said arresting and not arrested. So maybe what she knew was that they had gone in to arrest the person, and maybe she didn't know that the arrest never happened because the suspect detonated a device. She said arresting, so it sounded like she knew some arresting was going on, but she didn't know when it ended up happening. It looks like what ended up happening is when the police moved in, this happened. Wow. Now, I'm hoping nobody else was hurt. I mean, if this person, there's a Red Roof Inn near there, if they were in that Red Roof Inn or some store or something, or I mean, I'm guessing they might have been in some hotel like the Red Roof Inn. Wherever they were, I hope nobody else got hurt. I hope no police got hurt. I hope nobody around there got hurt. But the suspect killed himself using an explosive device. Oh my gosh. Crazy. I wonder if that means, did the suspect have a decent idea that they were coming after him? Well, I mean, there was a huge helicopter and police presence as of a couple hours ago in Round Rock, just north of Austin. So maybe they were the suspect was holed up somewhere, and that's what ended up happening. But just crazy piece of news there. Sources say the suspect killed himself using an explosive device. Thank you, Tom Clark. Tom Clark says, great job, Stephen RSBN. Thank you, Tom. So, wow. How about that? Man, well, it's good to know, apparently, this string of bombings is over, which is hopefully, we'll wait for the police to confirm that, but from everything we're seeing being reported, the single Austin bombing suspect is dead. And cheers to the police for getting this done. Wow. All right, in a second, I'm going to go over the timeline. We're waiting for a media briefing from the Austin police, and that should happen any moment now. Well, it could be any moment now. It could be an hour from now, but it's supposed to happen soon. But there you go. Wow. I'm still just looking at that and going like, wow. Man. And then even, given that that's the case, did he do that when the police rushed him? Did he do it just when the police were kind of hanging out outside? And did he say anything? I would be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if there was video of this or at least video of the police negotiating with the person or whatever. So that's quite a piece of news there, though. Wow. All right, so as you can see, the bombing suspect is dead in Austin, the Austin bombing suspect. And in terms of how this went down, let's just real quick summarize for those who've just joined the broadcast. This apparently happened in Round Rock, which is a town north of Austin, just north of Austin. There it is. You can see Round Rock there, north of Austin. I-35 goes through Round Rock. And from what I can see, it seems like everything went down there. That's where they're setting up. But let me just show you, as of 2 hours ago, Jordan Bonnke tweeted out, I-35 in Round Rock is shut down in both directions. They shut down the entire interstate, and there were SWAT vehicles and helicopters there. So it seemed like something might be going on. But I remember when he posted this, people were posting like in the comments, like, what's going on? Like, no one's telling us what's happening. People around the area, I recall, were saying that. And then around that time, a little bit after we started hearing about all this huge police activity in Round Rock, I don't know if this is connected to this at all when this happened, but then this happened. Then the media started releasing surveillance photos of the suspect. If you haven't seen him yet, this is the suspect mailing the 2 package bombs at FedEx on Sunday night. So that's the suspect on Sunday night mailing the package bombs. Now, I guess it's possible this is somebody who was working with the suspect. As far as I'm aware, I mean, I'm assuming this is a suspect, but let me just say I'm not 100% certain. But this was a person of interest, but this is the person who mailed the package bombs. So that's the person there. So those came out after we heard of this massive police activity. You can see there he's walking into the FedEx store with the two package bombs. But those photos came out after we heard about this massive police presence in Round Rock, and then we heard even more massive police presence outside Woodspring Suites in Red Roof Inn on South I-35, which is where I guess the suspects end up dying. But Jordan Bonnke also said Austin police investigating an officer-involved shooting, and around the same time, Austin police tweeted out, "We're working an officer-involved shooting." And the area they say is the same area. It's next to I-35 in Round Rock. So all of this stuff is going on, officer-involved shooting, police activity, photos coming out of the suspect. And then we heard this from Chris Betts, where she tweeted out, Austin PD FBI arresting suspect in Austin bombing. Suspect detonated device. Shots were fired. She was the only, this is an amazing tweet because no one, even after a half hour of this, had any of this information except for her. And she was right. The suspect did detonate a device. Now, it looks like the FBI never actually got to arrest the suspect. Now, maybe while they were arresting the suspect, he detonated a device. I hope no officers were hurt in this. But we saw that, so it looked like somebody had been arrested. When we first came on the air, we were assuming, I was assuming somebody was arrested. That was the story. But it turns out that the suspect was not arrested because the suspect was dead. Let's see here. So we saw this from Tony Plohetsky. Bombing suspect is dead. And then we saw from Tony Plohetsky this. Sources say the suspect killed himself using an explosive device. Now, I'm seeing where this happened on I-35, off of I-35, there's a Woodspring Suites and a Red Roof Inn. Those are two hotels. I don't know if this happened inside one of them, and if it did, I don't know, was the suspect staying at one of those hotels? Don't know that yet, so maybe we'll hear that information. We're waiting for a police briefing, which is supposed to happen shortly. Let's see if I can get you any more information while we're waiting for the briefing. Any new information about this? Wow, here's something new. Check this out. Person staying at the Red Roof Inn says he heard an explosion in the parking lot. Now, I don't know if I can play you this audio, but let me see what it is. Person staying at Red Roof Inn says he heard an explosion in the parking lot. How about that? Let's see here. Yeah, I can't just show you like this news station's video. Well, it's not a live stream. How long? Is it a live stream? I can't show you if it's a live stream. Yeah, I think I can't do that. So, but again, they say a person staying at the Red Roof Inn in Round Rock says he heard an explosion in the parking lot. So maybe this happened in the parking lot. Here is a tweet from the scene from Jay Wallace. Jay Wallace says, the extent of this investigation is obvious as you can see the long line of vehicles here at I-35 in Round Rock. Again, the suspect in these bombings is reportedly dead. Let me show you the video that Jay Wallace posted of the long line of police vehicles. Wow. So that's where this went down. I-35 as it goes through Round Rock just north of Austin. Adam Hammonds tweeted this out. Here's a picture of our masked camera shot showing a huddle of law enforcement, including FBI, around the scene. CBS Austin tweets out, for the first time in 19 days, there's a smile from Chief Manley. The Austin bombing suspect is dead. You can see Chief Manley of the Austin PD smiling there in that photo. CNN just tweeting out that police shut down parts of a highway north of Austin after an Austin officer-involved shooting. Well, CNN, if you were awake an hour and a half ago, you would have known that that was going on. A new piece of testimony. Check this out. KXAN News says, person staying at Red Roof Inn. It sounded like 2 grenades went off at one time. Wow. I'm guessing that was the explosion that killed, where the bomber detonated an explosive device and killed himself, the bombing suspect. But that's a quote from a person staying at the Red Roof Inn, there. I would love to know when this briefing is happening. No, all we know is Austin police has said they've set up the media staging area. There you go, media staging area. It's all set up. It's ready to go. We're just waiting for them to do their briefing. If you have updates that you're hearing, give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner on Twitter, @Lookner on Twitter. Our viewer Long Duck Dong says there was a police chase. Now, I have not heard that anywhere else. I'm not saying it's not true. I've literally not heard that anywhere. And I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just telling you I haven't heard it. Former Trump employee writes in, what kind of security does FedEx have to take packages from a man wearing a wig and gloves? Now, we don't know this person was wearing a wig and gloves. This is the shot of one of the shots of the suspect mailing the 2 package bombs at FedEx on Sunday. These photos just came out tonight while all of this was going down in Round Rock, where the suspect was being confronted. But what I had seen is an article about this had said he might be wearing a wig and gloves in the photo. We can't tell. So I don't know if he's wearing a wig and gloves. Just trying to get you some more updates here as we wait for this press briefing. I wonder if the Austin Statesman has anything up new. Let me check and see what they have in their story. They sometimes have new stuff. So they're saying, hang on. Austin Statesman, Austin bombing suspect dies as police close in. So they were attempting to arrest a man whom authorities were attempting to arrest. There you go. So they were trying to arrest him, and that's when he killed himself with an explosive device. So we have some confirmation that they were trying to arrest him. Here's some more information. The official said authorities identified a suspect in the past 24 hours based largely on information gained after police said the suspect shipped an explosive device from a FedEx store in Southwest Austin. That included security video, this video here. You know, it's very odd. This guy, he went in on Sunday night and he mailed 2 package bombs himself at a FedEx. Now, if you're the guy, you got to know whether when these package bombs are discovered, whether they explode or they don't explode, they're going to trace these back to you. I mean, it's almost like he knew at this point he was going to get caught, because he didn't even leave them in a Dropbox. He went right in and he went up there and mailed them. And even if they didn't have a security camera, they could have just asked this worker there, hey, what'd the guy look like? So it's just incredible that the guy went in to FedEx, even if he's wearing a wig. I mean, he just went in there and mailed these things himself on Sunday night. And, unsurprisingly, the police say that in large part they identified him based on that. That's what they said in the story here. They identified a suspect in the last 24 hours based largely on information gained after police said the suspect shipped an explosive device from a FedEx store in Southwest Austin. Now also, authorities also relied on store receipts showing suspicious transactions from the person and obtained a search warrant for his Google search history. How about that? that showed him conducting searches they considered suspicious, the official said. Wow, that's new. I'm tweeting that out right now. Austin Statesman. Oops. Because that's pretty crazy. Authorities had obtained a search warrant for bombing suspects' Google search history. Wow. Authorities relied upon cell phone technology to trace the suspect to a hotel in Williamson County. So it looks like tonight looks like maybe they had his cell phone number and they were tracing him, and they traced him. They found him at one of these hotels off the I-35 in Round Rock. Wow. And while they were trying to arrest him, he detonated an explosive device and he killed himself. Crazy. But it's not, I remember when the reports came out about the 2 FedEx bombs, I think I even talked about this on the air. I was thinking that, I think I even said on the air, did he mail them in a Dropbox or did he mail them in person? Because if he mailed them in person, it would seem that they would have a pretty decent idea of who the guy was from that. And unsurprisingly, they're saying they got a good idea of who he was based on the fact that he mailed these things in person, and they had surveillance video of the guy. And there you go. I also wonder if they had fingerprints from the packages and stuff, because one of the packages never exploded, so who knows? Or fingerprints from when they could have dusted the counter for fingerprints or something. I don't know. But that was the guy mailing the packages, the two package bombs on Sunday. And now, as we said before, he killed himself using an explosive device. We are waiting for a press briefing where hopefully we get more information from the authorities. Supposed to happen any time now, so I hope it happens soon. And just waiting here with all of you for that. MSNBC still not reporting he's died. They're still saying neutralized and down. What did Jay Wallace say? Jay Wallace, hold on a second. Oh, I don't think he's saying anything new here. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the same information repeated here. I'm trying to get you new stuff. If you hear anything new, give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Jolie LaPierre says, don't the photos say person of interest? Have they confirmed that is the Austin bomber? So this person in these photos is the person mailing 2 package bombs at FedEx. What I have said earlier in the broadcast is I am not 100% sure this is the suspect who died tonight, because I guess it's technically possible that the suspect paid some guy to go mail the boxes for him. But wait, didn't it say in the article that he mailed them? Yeah, look. And Austin Statesman said the suspect shipped an explosive device from FedEx store. So that is the suspect. There you go. So Austin Statesman is saying this is the suspect. That's not somebody the suspect had mailed the bombs for him. That is the suspect. The suspect himself went into FedEx Sunday night, mailed these boxes, these package bombs. You can see there's some other photos of him mailing the bombs. Look, he's walking in holding 2 boxes, 2 bombs. There he is coming in with them. A big one and a little one. Wonderful. It's so crazy. It's like, oh, good, I'm walking in. Oh, it's going to be so fun sending bombs to people. Just nuts. Nuts to see those photos. But yeah, so that is the suspect. He is now dead. Let's see. What else do we got here? I'm just searching around. I haven't seen anything new in the last few minutes. Oh, look at this. This is new. Look at this. Jason Whiteley says, we got word last night around 9 p.m. that law enforcement had ID'd the suspect and was closing in based off the FedEx packages he sent. But police wanted to surprise the individual and did that overnight in Round Rock. That's really interesting. So it looked like some people in the press had heard. He works for WFAA TV, Jason Whiteley. Some people in the press had heard from some sources in law enforcement last night around 9 p.m. last night. 9 p.m. So, you know what's kind of funny about that is that whole, 9 p.m. was right around, 9 p.m. Texas time was right around when the media was holding that briefing about the flare, the false alarm, where there was an incendiary device that went off at a Goodwill store in Southwest Austin, and initially people thought it was a bombing, and it wasn't. But it looks like while law enforcement was giving that media briefing, they did know more than they let on, and it sounds like they had already identified the suspect, and they were closing in, even as of last night. That's interesting. All right, we're waiting for this press briefing. I don't know when it's going to be. It's supposed to be any time, but any time could be very soon or not so soon. So would love to bring that to you. This is, again, Associated Press. Look at how old this news is. Officer involved shooting in Texas. And the story says it's unclear if it's related to the recent spate of. So, look, this story that they just put out has nothing about the guy being dead. Nothing. This is the Associated Press. They just tweeted this out a minute ago. A minute ago, they're tweeting out a story about the bomb suspect, which has no information about the bomb suspect being dead. This is the Associated Press. The Associated Press. Unbelievable. Just amazing to me. I don't understand it. More news. Here's another update here. Sources say Tuesday was the tipping point in the Austin bombings investigation. They say they collected cell phone technology and surveillance video to track the suspect to a Williamson County hotel. All right, we kind of heard that before. I guess a big break was the suspect going into FedEx on Sunday and mailing those packages in person. That seemed to really help things. Austin police, no word on this briefing. There you go. 40 minutes ago, they said media staging area. And we don't, it's supposed to have a briefing at some point there. We'll see when it is. So just to recap for people just joining the stream, the Austin bombing suspect is dead. Police, and I don't know if it was FBI or Austin PD or both or whoever else, went to arrest him late last night, at a hotel in Round Rock. Round Rock is just north of Austin. And off the I-35, they went to a hotel to arrest this person, and the suspect ended up blowing himself up with an explosive device. No word on whether other people might have been injured in that. We just don't know. This was shortly after photos had come out in the press of the suspect who was photographed mailing 2 package bombs on Sunday night at FedEx. That is the suspect right there. We don't know if the suspect is wearing a wig. Could be, maybe not. So that's the suspect. And this happened, from what we've been reading, they had ID'd the suspect as of last night and tracked him down this morning. And some reporters started noticing huge police and SWAT presence and helicopter presence. They actually shut down the entire I-35 interstate near this hotel tonight. And then we heard suspect, they're trying to arrest the suspect, they're arresting the suspect, and there's been an officer-involved shooting in this area, and gunshots were fired, and the suspect exploded a device. And then finally we heard suspect is dead and he's died because he killed himself by exploding a device. And this information was really interesting, the stuff we saw from the Austin Statesman. It said, an official told the Austin Statesman authorities identified a suspect in the past 24 hours based largely on information gained after the police said the suspect shipped an explosive device from a FedEx store in southwest Austin. That evidence included security video like this. The Austin Statesman said authorities also relied on store receipts showing suspicious transactions from the person and obtained a search warrant for his Google search history that showed him conducting searches they considered suspicious. So they went through his Google search history. And then last night, or tonight, they relied on cell phone technology to trace him to his hotel, to a hotel. Sorry. I would love to know when this press briefing is going to happen. And I'm not seeing anything about it. So, if you hear updates, give me a shout on Twitter. @Lookner is where to reach me, @Lookner. Also, I cover breaking news when I'm not on the air, so you can follow me on Twitter if you like breaking news, @Lookner. And also, to know when we do these live videos, as you can see, we at Right Side Broadcasting will come on at all hours with breaking news. If you want to know when we're coming on the air, subscribe to us on YouTube, click the notifications bell. Also, follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting, on Twitter @RSB Network, and on Periscope at RSBN TV. And I want to say thanks to our moderators who work very hard in our chat rooms to moderate our chats. Here's an interesting, I don't think I read this post yet. Jason Whitley said, we got word last night, we heard this around 9 p.m. that law enforcement had ID'd the suspect and was closing in based off the FedEx packages he sent, but police wanted to surprise the individual and did that overnight in Round Rock. Police wanted to surprise the individual. according to Jason Whiteley. Now, I wonder if they wanted to surprise the individual because they didn't want the individual to like be violent or didn't want to get resistance from the individual. I presume they wanted to capture the individual alive, but I did retweet this, so I guess maybe we did read this before. But the whole thing about surprising the individual, apparently, I'm guessing the desired outcome was not for the individual to blow himself up with an explosive device. So, unfortunately, I'm guessing they much rather would have just captured the individual, but apparently they didn't surprise him enough. Or maybe the guy was just holed up with an explosive device. I mean, the guy had to have some idea after he walked into a FedEx on Sunday night and mailed packages in person. He had to have some idea that he was going to get caught soon. I mean, he walked into FedEx and mailed these packages in person. He just did that. So you got to know when you do that, like you're not going to like stay uncaught for that long. Let's see here. Here's new. Reuters has some new news. They say FedEx to scan every parcel. Well, I bet the story doesn't have the suspect died. But anyways, they say FedEx is going to scan every parcel at 2 Texas facilities after blast. Maybe this is old news. Maybe this is like, given the bomb scare. Yeah, this is nothing about... This is all about the blast on Tuesday. It has nothing about the suspect being arrested. They just tweeted this out. That's Reuters for you. That's an international news organization. They still apparently don't know the suspect is dead. Sorry. A lot of people are messaging me about a Q post. I have no information that the poster known as Q had any inside info. So if I hear some sort of reputable story about this, I will pass it along. But I have heard nothing from any kind of reliable news source on this. I'm just acknowledging that people keep messaging me about it. We are waiting for this briefing. And it's supposed to happen. There's already a briefing area set up, and we're just waiting for it. So I would love for it to happen. That would be good. Does the Austin Statesman have anything new? No, they're the same article. Okay. Let me see if I can find, while we have a second, let me see if I can find some better surveillance photos from you of the bomber. Hold on one sec. Because the one article that everybody links to with the photos has, it's like small photos. I keep getting the same article. Maybe they were the only one with the photos. Yeah, it's the same article everywhere. I think only CBS Austin had these photos of the guy the suspect mailing the package bombs on Sunday night at FedEx. And I wish we had I wish we only have small ones of these three, or these other ones. I wish we had bigger ones, but we don't. Casually strolling in to mail his package bombs. There you go. All right, so still waiting for this briefing. I'm going to assume it's happening. Oh, here's a post. Here's a post. This is from Jay Wallace of KVUE News. He says a Round Rock man talks about what he saw here at the scene of tonight's investigation. Let's play this video clip from Jay Wallace.
We did a couple rounds. We circled around because we saw that there was something big going on. We saw the cops. We saw the bomb squad. We saw SWAT. We saw a whole bunch of stuff going on. So we went around back to the behind the restaurant. We tried to go around like the back area where the woods are and try to catch an eye on what's going on.
So a lot of police there and SWAT and everything. What is this? AP just, I don't even know what this means. AP just tweeted this out. Breaking ATF says it's with the FBI, Austin police at the scene of the individual suspect in the package bomb murders. Are they still not reporting, AP, that he's dead? This has been on major news outlets for like an hour. I'm so confused. I don't understand what this... They just tweeted this out. I'm baffled by it. Unbelievable. Here you go, in big letters. KXAN News says, I like this. KXAN News tweets this out, and then right after that, Associated Press says, ATF says it's with FBI, Austin police at the scene of the individual suspected in the bombings. People have already been tweeting this stuff. See if this article has anything new in it. This is the article from KVUE, which repeats some stuff we've been talking about. Through the use of cell phone technology, they found the suspect at a hotel tonight in Round Rock, just north of Austin. As I said before, Austin police had said they were working on an officer-involved shooting in the area. Now, we still don't know exactly what this officer-involved shooting was. I think it's likely that this shooting involved when they were in a conflict with the suspect, because it's at the location where they encountered the suspect. So, but we don't know what this officer-involved shooting exactly involved. So maybe we'll hear more about that. I would assume we'll hear more about that later. The FBI were arresting the suspect, but he detonated a device and shots were fired at the same time. This is interesting. The suspect attempted to evade the police. I have never seen that reported. This is the first I've seen that reported, that the suspect attempted to evade the police. Huh, interesting. They used surveillance video from the FedEx store to help lead them to the suspect. They also got information from Google and from the suspect's computer history that confirmed the suspect was looking at information on where to go to ship devices. This is interesting. So we told you that they had gotten a warrant to look through the suspect's Google search history, but I guess some of what they found is that the suspect was searching for information on where to ship devices. Where to go to ship these things. The I-35 is still closed. The southbound I-35 is still closed. That southbound part of the freeway is still closed. Round Rock police just tweeted out, "Thank you for your patience during this investigation and southbound I-35 road closure." And you can see they said southbound I-35 will be closed for the next 4 to 6 hours for investigation. So where this happened is next to the freeway, the 35 interstate. They are closing the interstate for 4 to 6 hours more for this investigation, but they say there is no immediate danger to the public because the suspect is dead. I'm seeing a rumor about a very unsubstantiated rumor about the nature of the explosive device the guy used. But it's from a source I know that sometimes is wrong, and I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I'm not. I'll check up on that, but I'm not going to report it at this point because I'm not convinced about it. Let me see if I can find anything more about that as we wait for this press briefing, which maybe never will happen. Yeah, I don't know where that information is coming from. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. Vicky Tama says she thinks he was wearing gloves at the FedEx store. Oh, you're saying in this shot he has a red glove on. Oh, I thought he was like holding a cup there. But maybe that's a glove. Oh. But is he wearing a glove on the other hand? Let's see. I can't tell in that one if he's wearing a glove. That's when the suspect was mailing the package bombs. No, he's not. In that one, it looks like his left hand does not have a glove on. Yeah, in that shot, it looks like the left hand is just ungloved. I had read that it wasn't clear whether he had a wig on or gloves in the photos, but that photo looks like he just has his left hand not in a glove. Oh, but that's what, now look, this is really odd. He has white gloves in this shot. This is fascinating. So, let's see. Hang on. I want to look at this. This is very interesting. So, now maybe he has white gloves with a red inside of the glove? Is that what happened? Look at that. Wow. There you go. White gloves in there. He's wearing white gloves. You are right in that shot. This shot, okay, maybe in this shot, where's the one? Right there. I might have misspoke. I might have misperceived that. It looks like he is wearing gloves in all the shots. You are exactly right. I didn't notice that. Good eye. That was Vicky. Vicky, good spot. So it does look like he's wearing gloves. So they wouldn't have fingerprints. How about that? So these are the shots of the surveillance photos of the guy mailing the packages, and it does look like he has gloves on the entire time. Now, I can't tell you if he's wearing a wig, however. One of our viewers, now if he was wearing an obvious wig, one of our viewers wrote in earlier saying like he was surprised that FedEx would let somebody wearing an obvious wig and gloves mail a package there. But I don't know if the wig was, if it was a wig and if it was obvious. Also, remember, at this time, before these FedEx packages were mailed, none of the package bombs had actually been mailed. So if you're working at FedEx, I don't think you're expecting the bomber to walk in himself and mail package bombs. Because they hadn't been mailed before. Very interesting, though. Good eye, Vicky. Way to go. Long Doug Dong said, you send me a witness interview about a police chase? Where? What are you talking about? Hang on a second. Let me see this. Hold on. Hold on a second. There's a guy who might have posted about witnessing this. Hold on a second. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video because all right, so this video was posted. Long Duck Dong sent me this, and this guy Joseph Cura posted this video. He posted this at 3:11 a.m. Now 3:11 a.m. Eastern is before this person. It was announced that this person had died, that the suspect had died, and I think it was before it was announced that the person had even been arrested. So this is early on. This is before even the tweet came out that the guy was arrested, and certainly before that the guy had died. So there's naughty language in this. So if you don't want to hear naughty language, don't listen for the next 45 seconds. You've been warned. But I think it's important. The reason I'm playing this is because I think it's newsworthy. So this was somebody, I can't verify that this person actually witnessed this happening, but he seems to be describing a police chase involving the suspect and then the suspect blowing himself up. So again, I'm going to play this now. It's 42 seconds long. Bad language. So do this if you don't want to hear the bad language. But I do think it's a very interesting, newsworthy piece of video. Okay, let's play this for a second. Ready?
Yo, so I was on the phone with my boy Andrew, right? He was like, oh, fuck, I'm right here, right by Austin. And I was like, all right, cool. And he was like, there's a fucking high-speed chase going on with a fucking white van. And there's all these troopers and shit. And I was like, oh, shit, for real? He was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, fuck, this motherfucker crashed. And as soon as he passed up the van, it exploded and chingo boxes flew everywhere. That's that motherfucker dropping the bombs, dude. My boy Andrew witnessed that motherfucker go down, and I heard that shit. All I heard was a big-ass explosion, and when I was talking to him on the phone, and all this shit hit his truck, and now he has to pull over, and EMS has to check him out and shit.
Wow. So that, again, this was posted well before it was announced that the suspect had died. This was posted before it was announced, I believe, that the suspect had been arrested. Because that tweet about the arrest, I think, was... I'll tell you what time the tweet... I'll tell you exactly the time that the tweet was... The only tweet about the person being arrested was at... let's see. 4:06 a.m. 4:06 a.m. was when the first tweet about the suspect being arrested came out. Not even the one about him being dead. That happened at like 4:40 a.m. But this was posted at 3:11 a.m. Look, 3:11 a.m. Amazing. So it does look, it sounds like this guy was talking to his friend on the phone, and the guy's friend was at the scene. And the very interesting info was that it sounds like there was a police chase, and the suspect was in a white van, and the suspect blew up the van. I want to retweet this. So, unconfirmed, but this was posted well before news of Austin suspect's death, and it seems to be an eyewitness account of police chasing the suspect who was in a white van and then the van blowing up. Again, unconfirmed. Oh, I also want to give credit to the person who told me this. Hold on. I give credit on my tweets. Where is it? Let's see. I think it's Long Duck Dong who sent it to me. At long_Vaders. Long_Vaders. How about that? That was fascinating. That was really fascinating. So maybe there was a high-speed chase, and maybe we hadn't heard anything about a van. So maybe the suspect was in a van and the van blew up. The guy said a van blew up and boxes went everywhere. All unconfirmed, but again, this was posted almost an hour before there was even a post about the guy being arrested. Never mind. It was posted an hour and a half before the news came out that the suspect was dead. This was posted. So, fascinating. Fascinating. Anyways, thank you, Long Duck Dong, for that. So maybe there was a high-speed chase. Maybe a van blew up. Sounds believable to me. Now, maybe it's not. Maybe that could be just false, by the way. I said it was unconfirmed. But it's interesting to look at. All right. I got to find out if they're having this briefing. Ooh, it looks like this briefing is going to start soon, I think, because they're about to have the press conference. Okay, I'm seeing posts about this press conference. Give me a second. Let me do something here and prepare it for you, if I can. One sec, guys, please. Hang on one second here. That's not it. I just want to be prepared for when this actually happens, so I don't have to do all this while it's starting. All right. I think we're good. So I'm seeing posts like this suggesting it's starting soon. CBS Austin says press conference on an officer-involved shooting that led to the Austin bombing suspect killing himself with an explosive. Oh, Associated Press is all over the story. Look, breaking. Suspect blew himself up. Breaking, even though everybody else was tweeting it out an hour and a half ago. But it's breaking on the Associated Press right now. Just so you know, it's breaking. Oh, ABC News isn't even also not reporting that he's dead yet. They're just saying there's been an explosion. That's ABC News. Breaking. Okay. I'm seeing KXAN says we're expecting law enforcement to give an update soon, and they capitalize soon. So we're expecting this soon. Look at this, guys. Remember we heard about the guy posted that video saying he blew up a van? Look at this, guys. Look what we just saw. Sally Hernandez. While there's a ton of law enforcement in the hotel parking lot, sources tell me the suspected Austin bomber detonated a device in a car on the side of the road. It looks like that guy in the video was right. Look. Sally Hernandez says, sources tell me the suspected Austin bomber detonated a device in a car on the side of the road. That video we showed before was that guy saying, my buddy saw a guy in a van getting chased where this happened, and then he blew up the van. Wow. Good job, Sally Hernandez. Way to go. I love it. What is this? Here's a little video posted by KXAN. Video from a witness nearby as officials investigate following an officer-involved shooting near I-35 that sources say involved the Austin bombing suspect. Let's look at this. Okay. The briefing's going to start momentarily. Hang on a second, guys. Give me a second here. I will get it up here, hopefully for you. Give me 1 second. Let me just get this. Hang on. Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 sec, guys. I'm pulling it up here. Crap.
Community is well aware that it has been a long, almost 3 weeks for the community of Austin as we have dealt with package bombs and other types of bombs that have been placed throughout our community. We have seen members of our community that have lost their lives and others whose lives have been forever changed due to significant injuries. We have talked many times over the past couple of weeks about the level of partnership that has taken place with our federal officials, our local officials, and our police department.
Guys, 5 seconds. I just need to switch one thing. Give me 5 seconds here, and you will have it on your screen. Here we go. There we go, right here.
36 hours, we started getting information on one person of interest that we continued to work on and continue to develop.
Nope.
Much time had passed, and the vehicle started to drive away. We began following the vehicle, again, waiting to get the tactical vehicles here so we could take this, make a stop. However, the vehicle ended up stopping in the bar ditch on the side of the road behind us. As members of the Austin Police Department SWAT team approached the vehicle, the suspect detonated a bomb inside the vehicle, knocking one of our SWAT officers back, and one of our SWAT officers fired at the suspect as well. The suspect is deceased and has significant injuries from a blast that occurred from detonating a bomb inside his vehicle. We cannot name this suspect at this time because he has not been positively identified yet by the medical examiner, and next of kin have not yet been notified. So there will be a lengthy investigation that will take place regarding the officer-involved shooting. The investigation will be conducted by the Austin Police Department's Internal Affairs Unit, with the Austin Police Monitor participating as well for a review of compliance with departmental policy. There will be a concurrent criminal investigation that will take place by the Texas Rangers of the incident that occurred here tonight. Again, this is the culmination of 3 very long weeks for our community. And throughout these weeks, we've talked about the importance of remaining vigilant and looking out for each other. I want to continue that message as we stand here this morning, though, because we don't know where this suspect has spent his last 24 hours, and therefore we still need to remain vigilant to ensure that no other packages or devices have been left through the community. So as we go through the day today, we want the community to remain vigilant, but I also want to look at where we are now in Round Rock and remind our neighboring communities of Round Rock and Cedar Park and the other cities that we do not know where he has been in the past 24 hours, and we need your communities to remain vigilant as well. And again, if you see something that looks suspicious, if you see something that's out of place, if you see something that gives you concern, call 911 and let us know so that we don't experience any more tragedies in our communities, because we've had far too many over the past 3 weeks. I again want to thank the tremendous support and participation that we have had from our federal partners. And since this is still an ongoing investigation, we're not going to release a lot of the specific details that led to the incidents that occurred tonight. We did have one officer who was injured when that bomb detonated as he approached the vehicle, suffering minor injuries. And then we had one officer, as I mentioned earlier, that fired his weapon at the suspect. That officer has been with the Austin Police Department for 11 years, and again is a member of our SWAT team. As is our standard practice, he will be placed on administrative duty while we conduct the necessary investigations into what happened here. I'm now going to turn it over for comments to Special Agent of the ATF.
Thank you. The unprecedented level of cooperation and partnership from the law enforcement agencies at the local, state, and federal level allowed each of our agencies to bring a skill set, different skill set to bear and identify this subject. And fortunately tonight we're able to bring this part of the investigation to a close. I also want to thank the public who continue to support us and cooperate with us and continue to send in tips. And as the chief said, we want them to continue to be vigilant. We are concerned that there still may be other devices out there. We want to make sure that if people see suspicious packages or bags, they continue to call 911 and report that to the police so we can respond and deal with those packages. Thank you.
I'd like to say today's a great day for law enforcement. I'd like to thank the partners. There's an exceptional relationship here in Texas, and particularly in Austin. Chief Manley did an unbelievable job. The federal government brought the full resources of federal law enforcement here to solve this and to stop the injuring and the killing that was occurring. As the chief said, we're not done yet. It's a long day ahead. We are concerned that there may be other packages that are still out there. We need the public to remain vigilant, especially today as we go through this investigation. We will be here as long as it takes with our partners to figure out exactly what happened, why it happened, and how it happened. And we're committed to staying here with the Austin Police Department for as long as it takes to make sure we understand exactly what happened here. I'd just like to say this is what law enforcement does every day in this country. The brave men and women of the Austin Police Department put their lives on the line tonight to stop this man from setting off bombs. As the chief said, one of their officers was hurt approaching the suspect as he detonated a second device. That's what law enforcement does every day in this country. They put their lives on the line to make sure that all of us are safe. I'd like to commend the chief and his brave men and women that approached that subject's vehicle and stopped the subject from hurting anybody else. Thank you very much.
I understand that the investigation is continuing and that everyone still is urged to be vigilant and look for things that are out of place. But that said, gentlemen, on behalf of an incredibly thankful community, I just want to say thank you. And if you would pass that on to the men and women that you work with. Chief Manley, to you and to your officers, to this literally army of both neighboring cities and state and federal agencies. Thank you.
And I'd just like to close with just really a thought for the families in our community who lost loved ones or who had loved ones seriously hurt in these incidents. Our heart remains with you as you go through your healing process and your time of sorrow, and we stand by you and with you in your time of need. And with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Chief Manley,
was the suspect
Chief Manley,
an Austin
understands there may be
Chief,
more
was the
than
suspect an
one
Austin resident?
suspects involved. Are you still looking for other individuals who may be connected to this one, or was this a lone wolf?
This investigation is still underway, so we cannot say that this was an individual acting on their own. That's why this investigation will continue through the day or days coming.
Are you still searching
Without
the
naming the
FedEx
suspect, can you give us at
facilities?
least some biographical details in rough age? Was he an Austin resident?
The individual involved in this incident was a 24-year-old white male, and we're not going to give out any information regarding his residence.
Any accomplices, sir?
Sorry?
Maybe you covered this, but any accomplices?
As I said, this investigation is ongoing. We want to make sure that we have confirmed that he either acted alone or if there were any accomplices that we identify them.
There's mention of a second device
This individual date back to March 2nd.
We believe that this individual is responsible for all incidents that have taken place in Austin, starting on March 2nd, those that occurred since then as well.
Are you still searching the FedEx facilities?
Evacuated?
Sir, are you still searching the FedEx facilities?
There is an operation going on in Schertz, Texas, I believe, at that warehouse. Again, wanting to make sure that that warehouse is safe, in addition to the fact that a bomb detonated in that warehouse, and it takes a while to process a post-blast investigation like that, so that's going to take a while for that one to be cleared.
Chief, do we have a why? Do we have a why, Chief?
Been following.
Was it the FedEx package that led you to this guy?
There were several leads that led us to this person. We had a lot of evidence that came to us via video sources as well as witnesses.
Was he ever on your radar prior to this?
This was a subject that we had developed over the course of the investigation, but we became very interested in him over the past couple of days.
Chief, do we have a why? Do we?
You know, that's the one thing we don't have right now is a motive behind this. We do not understand what motivated him to do what he did, and that will also be part of the continuing investigation as we try to learn more about him and to understand why he took the actions that he
Was
did.
there contact with the suspect?
Sorry.
Was he on his way to deliver another bomb?
We don't know whether he was on his way to deliver another bomb. It is obvious that he had one with him, and that's the one that he detonated in the vehicle as we approached.
Agent
contact with him?
Combs, can we ask you in regards to how this motive or how the operations and the bombs evolved? It started off package bombs, it moved to tripwires, it moved to FedEx. It doesn't seem like the same guy. So why are you so confident that this is the same guy, or is this just an example of a person, the suspect, evolving?
Again, as we've said all along, we didn't want to give out specific descriptions of the types of packaging the initial bombs were in because we knew that there was the potential he would change his methods, and that is in fact what occurred here. We do believe that all of these are related and that he is responsible for these based on the similarities that we have seen in all of the devices and in the evidence we're finding from those that did detonate.
Last question.
Did he make military
Who was he mailing
experience?
those FedEx packages to?
The FedEx packages, we're not going to identify who they were being mailed to. However, we have been in contact with them.
Was there any contact with the suspect during the shooting? Was there any contact with the suspect before the device exploded tonight?
No, we had found him in the parking lot of a hotel in this neighborhood behind us, and we did not contact him. Again, we wanted this to come to a peaceful resolution tonight, but we knew how dangerous this situation was given what he had done in our community leading up to tonight. So we were waiting to get the best assets in place with our tactical teams and our ballistic vehicles so that we had the best chance possible to take him into custody. However, we were not afforded that opportunity when he started driving away, and we could not let him get anywhere into the community, and that's why we ended up having an interaction on the frontage road behind us.
Did he drive away because he saw police? Did he drive away because he saw police? I mean, do you have any evidence of that?
I don't know why he drove away. The officers that were there had been watching him for quite some time, so nothing had changed there to where I believe that he saw them, but that's something we'll never know.
Does he have a military background, Chief?
I don't know what his background is.
Last question.
Do you know what motivated him at this point, now that you've been able to put this to this point?
No, again, as we stated earlier, we do not know what the motive was behind that, and hopefully as we continue this investigation, we will uncover some facts so that we can try and understand, although this is something that there is no rationale for, but we can try and understand what his motive was. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief.
So that was the chief of police of Austin, and he said that they had tracked the bombing suspect tonight to a parking lot there in Round Rock, and then the suspect started driving away after they had observed him for a while, and they chased the suspect down. They didn't want to let him go into the general public, and what eventually happened is it sounded like, I want to watch the beginning of that again, but it sounded like he said when an officer approached the vehicle, the guy blew up an explosive device in the vehicle, and at that point, one of the officers, I guess, suffered minor injuries, and I don't know if it was the same officer or a different officer, fired at the vehicle. But then the chief said the suspect died from the explosive device. So he didn't die from getting shot. He died because he exploded this device in the car. So what I want to do is I'm not going to play the whole thing again. It took a second to get that on the air. So I'd love to just listen to like the first minute of that again, just to hear the basic rundown of of what happened, the timeline in terms of how this all came to pass tonight. So give me 1 second. Let's play the first minute again, if I can. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right here. Here we go. Let's watch just like the first minute of this again and see the explanation again. We might have missed a little bit of this, so let's play it.
In the bombing incidents that took place in Austin, we had surveillance teams looking for this suspect, and we ultimately located the vehicle that this suspect was known to be driving, and witnesses told us he was driving. And in fact, we found that at a hotel right up the road here in Round Rock. We had multiple officers from both the police department and our federal partners that took up positions around the hotel awaiting the arrival of our tactical teams because we wanted to have ballistic vehicles here so we could attempt to take this suspect into custody as safely as possible. While we were waiting for those vehicles to get here, much time had passed and the vehicle started to drive away. We began following the vehicle, again waiting to get the tactical vehicles here so we could take this, make a stop. However, the vehicle ended up stopping in the barred ditch on the side of the road behind us. As members of the Austin Police Department SWAT team approached the vehicle, the suspect detonated a bomb inside the vehicle, knocking one of our SWAT officers back, and one of our SWAT officers fired at the suspect as well. The suspect is deceased and has significant injuries from a blast that occurred from detonating a bomb inside his vehicle.
Okay, so that's the story of what happened, is that they knew what vehicle the suspect had. It was interesting, he said they knew that in part because of witnesses. So what witnesses had witnessed the suspect in the vehicle? like, was there a witness who saw him walking out of the FedEx on Sunday night and go to this vehicle? Anyways, they had tracked the suspect's vehicle, and they found it tonight in Round Rock, and they had surrounded the vehicle and they were observing it, and they were waiting for some tactical police vehicles to get there. I guess maybe armored vehicles or whatever, so they could, take the suspect into custody in a safe way. And then the suspect started driving away, and then they followed after the suspect. And he said the suspect pulled over. He didn't say like they rammed the suspect. He said the suspect pulled over when they were following him. And then as SWAT members approached the car, the suspect blew up this device, killing himself, hurting an officer. Another officer shot into the car, but apparently the suspect had already died. And that's what happened tonight. So, wow, pretty crazy. But it sounds like the suspect is dead, thank goodness. 24-year-old male. They don't have a motive. They're not giving a name yet. He says they're going to try to figure out why he did this, but they don't have a motive at this point. And he didn't say anything about the suspect's background. Was he in the military, anything like that? Nothing about the background. And didn't even say where the suspect was from. So that's what happened. We're going to be on the air a little while longer here. If you have comments, write to me on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. What I'd like to do is I'd like to read a few comments at this point. But to be honest with you, we've been on for several hours. Honestly, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be honest with you. I need to take a 1-minute bathroom break. So I'm going to play the first minute of that press conference one more time to let me go take a bathroom break. Sorry, but that way I can stay on the air and not explode. And so let me do that real quick, and that'll give you something to watch while I'm doing that. And as soon as I get back, I'll take your comments. Write to me if you have comments at Lookner, at Lookner. We're going to read your comments on the air at Lookner. So let me get this going here. We're honest here at Right Side Broadcasting. We don't hide stuff. All right, let me play this, and I'm coming back in 1 minute.
That this was the suspect in the bombing incidents that took place in Austin. We had surveillance teams looking for this suspect, and we ultimately located the vehicle that this suspect was known to be driving, and witnesses told us he was driving. And in fact, we found that at a hotel right up the road here in Round Rock. We had multiple officers from both the police department and our federal partners that took up positions around the hotel awaiting the arrival of our tactical teams because we wanted to have ballistic vehicles here so we could attempt to take this suspect into custody as safely as possible. While we were waiting for those vehicles to get here, much time had passed, and the vehicle started to drive away. We began following the vehicle, again, waiting to get the tactical vehicles here so we could make a stop. However, the vehicle ended up stopping in the bar ditch on the side of the road behind us. As members of the Austin Police Department SWAT team approached the vehicle, the suspect detonated a bomb inside the vehicle, knocking one of our SWAT officers back, and one of our SWAT officers fired at the suspect as well. The suspect is deceased and has significant injuries from a blast that occurred from detonating a bomb inside his vehicle.
Okay, I'm back. All right, so we've been covering this. We're going to stay on a little while longer, but you heard what happened there. And so I'm going to read some of your comments now. So write to me at Lookner on Twitter if you have comments. Let me see if people have written in so far. There's this rumor floating around that the bomber posted something on Reddit that is unconfirmed. Somebody wrote me about that, but I have not heard any confirmation that actually really happened. It was an anonymous person who posted some stuff on Reddit about being the bomber, but no confirmation that was actually the bomber. Loud City Jesse says, I don't think you can be too sure this is the right person they are looking for. I haven't seen concrete evidence or clues to say this is the guy. Well, I'm trusting that they wouldn't say it was the guy if they weren't sure. But also, they have surveillance video of the guy mailing packages, 2 package bombs at FedEx on Sunday night. Supposedly they really relied on this video. This whole experience at FedEx, especially this video, was very helpful for them. But I don't know, maybe some other parts about the FedEx transaction too was really helpful. But him going in and mailing the packages at FedEx himself was a big point in this case that helped them. The authorities said, a source that we had heard before said, that was a big thing that helped them identify who this person was. I can even show you that. So, authorities, Austin Statesman says, the official said authorities identified a suspect in the past 24 hours based largely on information gained after police said the suspect shipped an explosive device from a FedEx store in Southwest Austin. That evidence included security video. So I'm pretty confident that they got the guy, because I don't think they'd want to say they did if they didn't. Alexandria writes, if they knew what type of car he had, why would they allow him that much time to set off a bomb? Although he only killed himself, he could have killed thousands of innocent people. Well, they're supposed to have a routine for stuff like this. I'm guessing they did have a procedure. Now, nothing he did suggested he had a bomb that could kill thousands of people. The bombs he sent out were all bombs that either killed a person or injured a person, or, but anyways, I'm guessing they had a procedure, and it sounded like they went and surrounded the guy, and they were going to take him down, and they were observing him, and they didn't expect him to drive away, and he did. And when he drove away, the chief of police said, well, we didn't want him going out into the general public. So it sounds like they took action and they chased after him. I'm guessing that a big factor in all of their dealings with the guy was trying to minimize damage to the public. You also want to be careful because he's in this parking lot near these hotels. I'm sure you have to be very careful about how you confront him, because you don't want to create some, gun shootout or something in the parking lot where innocent people get hit. So you have to be concerned for that too. But I'm guessing there was procedure they followed. Jim Neo says the bomber had no interest in hurting the police and seemed to target a specific demographic. Well, we did not see him ever attack police. Even tonight, he blew himself up. It sounded like he blew himself up, and that in doing so caused a minor injury to a police officer. But as to targeting a specific demographic, the first 2 bombings were bombs placed at black households, and the next one was a Hispanic household. But the 4th bombing was a tripwire, which hurt 2 white men. And then the 5th and 6th bombs were mail bombs, and we don't know who he sent those mail bombs to. That has not been released. But at least from the information, it didn't seem like there was like one ethnicity being targeted or anything, at least as far as I'm aware. Maybe we'll learn more about this as they research him more. Houston Dolezal says, do you think it's over, or do you think there's another person that might have been a part of this? I'm guessing it's over because, again, what the authorities don't want to happen least of all is that they say, oh, this is over. Now, let me say this. They say they're still investigating. Okay, so technically speaking, it was asked in the briefing, is he the only one? And I think that the response was like, well, we're still doing the investigation. But he didn't suggest that there was imminent danger to people. If there was another bomber and they thought there was another bomber, they would be saying that. I'm guessing it's over. Now, what he did say, though, is he said this guy is the guy who's responsible for all the bombings that we've seen so far. And he said that, and he also said, look, I think he said something like, we don't know exactly what the guy was doing for the last 24 hours and where he was. So it's possible he placed other devices at different places. So there could be a danger from that. But the police say this is the guy who was responsible for all the bombs so far. So, it seems like that's it. Let's see here. Braveheart, Texas says, odd they're saying suspect is 24 when in suspect's pictures the guy is clearly much older, white hair, etc. Well, I don't know. I mean, this to me, I used to know a guy who was around 24 who looked like that, honestly. He wasn't living in Austin, Texas, but and this was years ago, but he might have been wearing a wig in these photos. This is a security photo from when he mailed the package bombs at FedEx on Sunday night. But whether it's a wig or not, when I look at that, I don't necessarily say that guy's not 24. I think we need to see his face. One of the viewers pointed out earlier, he is wearing gloves in all these photos, which is interesting. You can see he has white gloves in this shot. White gloves. A white glove with a red interior, it looks like, on both hands. White glove on the left hand, it looks like there. And then you can really see the white gloves there. So he came in with gloves. So it looks like he made some sort of attempt to disguise himself and not leave fingerprints. Although, to me, I think that, I was saying before, gosh, if you walk into a FedEx yourself and mail things, don't you think you're going to get caught soon? Because they're either going to have security video or the guy behind the counter will be able to say he was this height and around this age. And you got to expect maybe they'll have security video too. So I was pretty surprised to hear that he just went in himself and physically mailed these himself. But he did. By the way, when I will post, if I hear updates about this tomorrow, whenever, I post about breaking news all the time. So if you want to get more breaking news about this or other things, you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Also, to know when we're coming on the air with these live breaking news videos, which we do at all hours, clearly, you can follow us on our social media, subscribe to us, Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, click the notifications bell. Facebook, Right Side Broadcasting, Twitter, at RSB Network, and Periscope, RSBN TV. Let's see here. I want to get to some more of your comments. Write to me with your comments. Twitter, at Lookner. Let's see. I'm just going through here. Somebody sent me a rumor of who the suspect was. I'm not going to read any names on the air. Very often when we're covering breaking news, there are rumors about a suspect's name or a picture, and it turns out to be false. So we don't want to get anybody in trouble or anything. Ghetto King says, great job covering this. I look forward to your late night tweeting to get all my news. Thanks. Thank you, Ghetto King. That's very nice of you. Rusty Shackelford says, sounds like a copycat of the Unabomber. Who knows? But, who knows who this person was inspired by or not inspired by. But maybe they'll find some emails that this guy wrote or a diary or something and be able to put some sort of story together as to why he might have done this. Although, as the chief said, there's really no rational reason to do this. But maybe we'll know more. Alexandria says, do you think he wore gloves because he might have tattoos on his hands? You're saying when he wore gloves into the FedEx place to mail the packages. Possibly. That could be a reason. He might have thought that would identify him. I mean, fingerprints is another reason. Maybe he always wore gloves. Maybe that was his thing. I don't know. So, fair question. If you have comments, write to me on Twitter at Lookner. I would assume in the next couple days or next few days we might hear who this person actually is or get a name or something. All right. I'm making a last call for comments because I haven't been to bed, so I need to go to bed. let me say also quickly, I want to thank the people. If you've been following us, we've been covering this story. We've been covering all these different explosions, and we thought this was an important story, and we've been putting a lot of time into covering this story. But when we cover this story, we don't ask for donations during their broadcast. Like if we do a normal political broadcast or whatever, we'll ask for donations because we're a viewer-supported network, and your donations allow us to do this. So I do want to just take a second and thank, during our coverage, a number of people have donated to us, which we really do appreciate, because that's what keeps us on the air. And we do want to keep doing this. We like bringing you news, and we do feel like we offer something different. And I will say tonight, if you wanted video coverage of this, I was flipping around the mainstream media channels when this first happened. There was nobody initially on the air about this. So I do feel like if you wanted video coverage of this, you got it sooner here than anywhere, because I saw the stuff as it was happening and just reported it in real time. So we do think we do provide something that's a little different. And if you like it and you want to see more of it, if you feel like donating in the future, you can always go to our YouTube chat and go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $sign. And again, we don't like asking for donations, but that is literally what allows us to pay our bills. So you can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. But a big thank you to those of you who donated during our coverage, because that'll allow us to do more coverage for you. So that's what we want to do. Moderators also, thank you to all the moderators who've been working during our coverage, moderating the chat rooms. Although at this late hour, we might be at moderator free. It might be a Wild Wild West chat room with no moderators on YouTube. It's always like that on Periscope. So, all right, let's see if there are any more comments here. Let's see. Skydog has an interesting comment. Skydog59 says, I want to show you Skydog's comment. He says, it's possible he had chemical burns on his hands from making the bombs and he wore the gloves to hide them. Interesting. Maybe he also always wore gloves because he didn't want to get chemicals on his hands. Maybe the packages he thought might have had harmful residue on them and he didn't want to harm himself, but he didn't care if the person working there touched it. How about that? Interesting theory, Skydog59. Rusty Shackelford says, great coverage watching from Australia. Thank you, Rusty. AA Astro says, do you think any more footage of him will be uncovered now that they know his identity? Very possibly, if he has, maybe there's childhood video. Maybe, I'm guessing the guy had some acquaintances somewhere, so I'm guessing we'll hear more about him. Houston Dolazal says, I feel for a 24-year-old kid to know that much about bombs. He must have had somebody to teach him, and I feel he could not have made all those bombs by himself. Well, there are a lot of smart people out there and skilled people, and I certainly think to make these bombs and have them successfully go off is a very difficult thing that requires a high degree of skill and probably practice. I'm guessing you can't just not practice and then suddenly start making bombs and have the vast majority of them actually go off. But maybe he had a military background. Maybe the guy just used to practice at home all the time or something. We don't know what the deal with this person is. Maybe he lived in seclusion and did explosives practice. So, but, now it's possible somebody was helping him, although the authorities didn't really sound like they think anybody else was involved. They really didn't sound like that. They really thought that, it sounded like they think that this guy really did everything himself. Corner Pocket says, great broadcast, much better than other stations. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. Thank you, Corner Pocket. That's very nice of you. Rusty Shackelford said President Trump just tweeted. Let's look at this. Wow, President Trump has just tweeted. Thank you, Rusty, for letting us know. Austin bombing suspect is dead. Great job by law enforcement and all concerned. There you go. How about that? I'm going to have to retweet that he tweeted. The president has tweeted about the Austin bomber. There you go. Austin bombing suspect is dead. All caps. Great job by law enforcement and all concerned. He's up early to tweet that. Tweeted that at 6:28 a.m. Thank you, Rusty, for letting us know of that had happened. Savage Wolf says, why would the police shoot the car after he blew himself up in the car? Well, when the guy set off the device that exploded in the car, the police didn't know he was dead, I don't think. The police just felt an explosion, and one of the police officers was actually had a minor injury and was pushed back by it. So, you know, I think the police officer shot at the car because they didn't know the guy was dead. So for all they know, the guy is just, they probably didn't really even know what was going on at that point. They just felt some explosion. So that was just a response to that. Comrade Cosmo says, I thank you for the coverage. Probably wouldn't have known till tomorrow if I wasn't subscribed to you. Thank you, Comrade Cosmo, for watching and for the nice word. Nice words. Ireland's pacifist said, are you not getting my tweets? Well, I got that one. I apologize if I missed some. I sometimes miss some, you know, so. All right. I think, let me just do a quick check. I want to check the Facebook chat out and see what's going on there. And I'm peeking over at the Periscope chat as well. And the YouTube chat. I'm peeking at all of them, but so much to look at. Oh, you're going to hear volume in a second. I got to turn the volume off. John David Hill Sr. says, thank you for the news while at work. Thank you, John, for saying thanks. Wrangler Dave in Facebook says he thinks when the cop fired, it was panic fire. Gail McDonald says, President Trump is an insomniac and is always up early. Yukon in the YouTube chat says, hi, Lookner. There you go. And so does Alexandria Petty. She says that as well. Thank you, Serenity Seas, for your comments in the Periscope chat. All right, I think we're going to wrap this up. I need to sleep, and I think we've covered what we know so far. If you missed the beginning, feel free to go back and watch the beginning, because this is on YouTube, and it's on Facebook, and it's on Twitter, and it's on, where else? Periscope. You can watch it. You can watch it all again, how we all found out about this. This really reminded me, though, of, I remember when the Boston Marathon bombing happened, and I was up late a few nights after, and there was this news that came in that an MIT cop, very sadly, had been shot. And I remember thinking, like, wait a second, like, they're still working for those bomber guys. And then this news came that there was, like, a car chase going on, and an explosive went off, and it was just like, oh, and people initially didn't realize that it was the bombers, but people were like, wait, is this, did they find the bombers from Boston Marathon? It felt like that tonight when we started seeing these tweets around 3 a.m., which said, like, in this town north of Austin, there's all these SWAT teams and helicopters, and they've shut off the freeway. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if they've found the dude. So it turned out they did. It reminded me of that. Anyways, Jay Stewart says good night. Good night, Jay Stewart. Thank you, Eric Miranda, for saying thank you. So we're going to wrap this up now. Appreciate you all joining us for our coverage here. Big props to the law enforcement officials who found this guy and confronted the guy and put a stop to this. Now, the guy killed himself, but big props to law enforcement. As, you know, the chief pointed out, law enforcement putting themselves at personal risk. So big props to them and everybody who helped law enforcement, witnesses or people who gave tips or whatever. But great job. It's nice to know that these bombings won't keep happening because it was getting really crazy there. So well done, law enforcement, and condolences to everybody, the families and the relatives of the people who were killed or injured. And we hope the people injured have a speedy recovery. So that first. But thank you guys for choosing Right Side, and thank you for writing in all of your comments that you did. Appreciate and help and all your news tips. Thank you for all the news tips. That's very much appreciated. You help us cover the news here at Right Side Broadcasting. So big thumbs up for you for that. And people saying good night now. Good night, Gail McDonald, and Jay Stewart, Priscilla Pation. Gail in the YouTube chat, YouTube 13, Bluntman Q. You know, I just realized there are so many people who don't know this happened. It's 6:41 a.m. and we came on at around what? 4 a.m. So I figure, well, people have woken up right now. And no, most people probably don't know this happened to this. Most people in the country probably have slept all the way through this and have no idea this happened. And also a lot of our regular viewers have no idea this happened. So it's just funny that to think that. Anyways, well, they'll see this tomorrow or today, whatever. Yolanda Tenney, thank you. Rudy Garcia, thanks. Mr. MN911, thank you. Aldo Rain, thanks. Heather Price, thanks. Miss Ma S, Super Duty 455, and everybody else. All right, I got to stop saying goodnights. Thank you, Jeff Woolman. Couple more. Jean Marie McLaughlin says, OMG, you're still up? Yes, because this news happened. Susie Powell Evans, thank you. Samo says, only 3:30 a.m. for me. Okay, going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us. And again, I'll say it one more time. If you like our coverage, I hope you consider donating because we rely on you to stay on the air. That's how we can do this, and we want to do more coverage for you. You can always donate by going to the YouTube chat, click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate. So just want to say that because that's what allows us to do this. All right, thanks so much, guys, for all your participation. And I'm very upbeat. Even though I need to go to sleep, I'm very upbeat because they have found this bomber, and the bomber is not going to be bombing anymore because the bomber is now dead. Okay, so that's it for now. If there's breaking news tomorrow, you can follow me on Twitter. I'll post about breaking news even when I'm not on the air. At Lookner on Twitter. Subscribe to Right Side on Facebook, on YouTube. I already gave the addresses. At RSB Network on Twitter, RSBN TV on Periscope, and what else? That's all I got. So let's all celebrate today that there's going to be no more of this Austin serial bombing going on. And if there's breaking news tomorrow and I'm awake for it, I will cover it. Okay, have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Right Side Broadcasting. Have a good night or good day or whatever it is for you. And we will see you soon with more news here at RSBN. Have a good one.